Hello everyone, welcome to my Card Class Delivered August edition kit. Thank you to you all for purchasing it. If you're watching this video, it means it's all arrived safely, but do let me know if there's any problems with anything. This is the first time I've done this sort of kit, so I'm excited to see how it goes, but also a little bit nervous, so bear with me. I am going to share with you today the 4 different designs that I've made using the Magnolia Blooms stamp set that's in your kit. You've got 5 card bases, so one is entirely up to you to choose your own design. I'm not precious about the designs at all. It's your kit, it's your product, you design, you create as you wish, as your style goes with. These are just a rough template as to what I've done. So let's get on with it. So the stamp set that you've got today, we should have received, let's go through that first. You should have received in your kit 4 stamping blends. One is a colour lifter. One is Petal Pink Light, one is Mossy Meadow Light, and one is Lovely Lipstick Light. You have a Stampin' Spot, which is filled with Memento ink. We need to use Memento ink with the stamping blends, otherwise you get a bit of bleeding in your colouring. You have this lovely Magnolia Blooms stamp set, which I'm really pleased with. It's one of my favourites actually. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 envelopes, and you have 5 note cards. These note cards, when folded, measure 5 inches across by 3.5 inches wide, and when folded they fit perfectly in those. The Whisper White note cards and envelopes are also available in Very Vanilla, and they come in packs of 20, so they're really good way of doing some quick card making. And then you have 2 pieces of Whisper White. I've actually been able to make all 4 cards out of 1 sheet of Whisper White, but I've given you another one just in case you need it. So let's put all that to one side. I'll give you a bit of a background. The Magnolia Blooms stamp set comes from this new Experience Creativity catalogue. It's a real mini catalogue aimed at a beginner crafter. The reason being is the projects inside it are really to start you off crafting. Now I know some of you are really experienced crafters, but I did actually really like this stamp set. And the Magnolia Lane suite, which is in the main catalogue, which I'll share with you shortly, is so popular. So this is a really nice add-on stamp set. So if you have Magnolia Lane, this will just go beautifully with what you've already got. So you have this large magnolia image and the small one here, a little leaf, and then the sentiments are really useful. So they're probably the 3 main reasons that people would make a card. So it's an ideal beginner's stamp set, or one to add to your collection. Just to show you briefly, Magnolia Lane appears in the catalogue on pages 36 through to page 39. So if you love this stamp set and get on really nicely with it, there are some extra products to tempt you, shall we say, in the main catalogue. Okay, so let's get cracking with the cards. So like I said, I've made 4 different designs for you today. I'm not going to share them with you before we start. I want you to see how we make them as we go along. So we are going to start with our piece of Whisper White, and we are going to cut, excuse the state of my trimmer, we are going to cut 4 card fronts that all measure the same size. So they are 3 1/4 inches. So we'll cut 2 strips of 3 1/4 inches. We have that lovely bit left over, and we're going to cut this piece by 4 3/4. Now these are 1/4 inch smaller than the card front. The reason we're adding these to our card fronts, so just move that down. The reason we're adding these to our card fronts rather than stamping direct on the card base is because when you use the stamping blends, because they are so rich in colour, they do actually bleed through your cardstock. So what we don't want to do is when you send your cards to people, when they open them, they're left with like a splodgy mess here. So there is a method to my madness, I promise. So we're going to start with this first card, and we're going to use the main Magnolia image. It's the largest one in the set, and we are going to stamp to start with. We're going to ink that up with our Memento, and we're going to ink that ink that, stamp that, just like so. So not quite in the middle, but not quite off the edge. We want to make sure the whole image is on there. And then we're going to take our thank you stamp. Again, add a nice amount of memento. And we're going to stamp this just like so. Now that is the basis for our card front. So we're now going to colour that. So we're going to take all 4 of our Stampin' blends and we are going to colour with the brush tip all the way over the petals using the Petal Pink blend. Okay. The trick with the Stampin' blend is not to push hard. You don't get any deeper colour by pushing more firmly. You actually get the deeper colour by going over the same area, and that builds the layers of colours. So just to show you, you can see you get bleeding on the other side. So that's why we're adding this extra layer. And then we're going to take our lovely lipstick, the brush end, just here, and we're going to just add some colour to the edges of our leaves. The idea behind my colouring here is that it's like the two-tone flowers that you get. And then we're going to take our Petal Pink again and we're going to run over the edge of that lovely lipstick. Can you see it's changing how it's blending into that Petal Pink? Now the blends do come in combo packs, so you can get the light and the dark, but this, I wanted to show you that you don't actually need both of those shades if you don't want to. So it's a quick way to build up your collection of blends, so you can get more colours and then you can add in the darker ones as you wish. And then I'm just going over the edges again so that you add in a little bit more depth of that lovely lipstick. Now what you can do is you can go around over the line of where the lovely lipstick joins the Petal Pink, and the idea is this colour just blends it a little bit more. You don't have to. I've given you the colour lifter if that's what you wish to do, and it's one of my staple blends in my collection actually. It's probably the one that I use the most, apart from Smoky Slate, which is, I think I'm on my 4th Smoky Slate blend. So that is our coloured card front to start with. And we'll put that to one side. We're going to add all these cards together at the end because they are all really straightforward. I wanted to keep the design quite simple because I wanted to show you that actually sometimes less is more, and for things like the quick thank you cards, that's an ideal card to send to someone. The next one, we're going to use this smaller magnolia image, and again all of our stamping is done in memento. This is one I use for classes, hence why it's got my name on it. And then we're going to pop this in the middle like so. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. And then I've taken the congratulations stamp and then what we're going to do is we're going to stamp that underneath, making sure that it's as straight as we can possibly get it. Lovely. And again, we're going to repeat the same process. We're going to colour all over or towards the edges with our Petal Pink, and then we're going to build up our lovely lipstick with as much or as little as we wish. Blend it all together. And then add a little bit more dark to give a bit more definition. And then finally the green for the leaves. I've forgotten these little extra bits in there, so I'm just going to go over them with a bit of petal pink. Now the colour lifter, you can use this on the green, just on the tips of the leaves, and it will just take away some of that Stampin. The trick with the colour lifter is to do it and then leave it, because as they dry, can you see that? As it's drying, it's lifting the colour away. So that is our card front number 2. Card front number 3 is a bit more involved. So we're going to take our card front and we're going to make a landscape card with this one. I'm going to use the thank you stamp again. No, we're not. We're going to use the happy birthday stamp because we've not used that one yet. And the large magnolia image. Now what we're going to do first is we usually stamp the sentiment afterwards, but for this one we're going to stamp it first and all will become clear. What we want to do is make sure that we've got plenty of room for this sentiment. If you do it the other way around, you run the risk of actually not having enough space for your sentiment. I really like the font of this stamp, of the sentiments in this stamp set. I think it's really elegant. Calligraphy is really popular everywhere at the moment. There's actually a studio up the road from me in the village that teaches calligraphy. I think it's such a wonderful craft. Haven't actually managed to do it myself, but I know a few people that have and have really enjoyed it. Just lining this up so that we don't go over any of the images. And so we're happy with it. So that is our card base, and then I am going to colour each one of those, and again in the same way. It's quite repetitive, this project, isn't it? But what I wanted to show you is just different ways you can use the same images on different cards. And this would work with any type of stamp that you have. It would work with mail cards. It would work, depends what image you've got really. But this is probably one of the techniques I use a lot in my crafting. Concentrating now, which is why I've gone quiet. I find colouring so therapeutic, especially after a stressful day maybe, or you've got a lot on your mind. It really does soothe you, soothe the soul. It doesn't matter if this colouring isn't precise, because the joy of the blending is it does all the work for you. Okay. So we've done our lovely lipstick. Now we're going to go over all of it with our petal pink. blending that lovely lipstick and the petal pink all together. When you're happy with how that's blended, add in a bit more of the lovely lipstick if you want, just to bring out the different tones. Oh, I've forgotten the middle of that one. I hope you're still with me. I'm used to doing Facebook Live videos, because the videos are all quite relatively new to me. And it's strange not to have any kind of interaction with you all. So I won't know if you watch this or if you don't. But I won't be offended if you don't watch it, or if you just watch a little bit, or if you watch it on silent. It really is your project, and you may have your own ideas already on what to do with the stamps and how you want your cards to look, and that's completely fine. I would love it if you shared with me your finished cards. I love seeing what other people come up with, and what I think is amazing is how everyone will look at a certain stamp set in a completely different way. So that's our finished one there. And you can see, now this one has dried, how that ink has all blended together. So if you wanted to, you could go back over that, or not. It's entirely, you know, when you're happy with it. Grid paper's moving. Right, now we have our last card. Now this one is actually my favourite. And this is a great technique to do with any card. So we are going to take, again, our large image. Can you see which one I actually like the most? Well, actually I like the little one most, but this one is probably the most effective for cards of this size. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stamp this in the middle of our card towards the edge. So we're going to line that up where we're happy with it. You're going to leave a bit of a gap there, so it's not quite on the edge, and then we're going to stamp another. Just here, roughly so that the edge lines up. And then again at the bottom. It all will become clear with what I'm doing in a moment. This is my favourite card of the three. And then let's do Happy Birthday again. We're just going to pop our Happy Birthday down there. Okay. So that's that one done, and now we're going to colour in the same way. Are you bored of me colouring yet? I'm going to be quite quick with this one, because you've seen me colour quite a bit for this video. What I'm doing with this one is I'm just adding the lovely lipstick where the definition is. Oh, it's just colouring that centre. I quite like the centres to be dark. I know the centres could probably be another colour, but we've only got 4 colours, so we're going with it. Oh, I've smudged it. Rats. Now what you could do, if you have them in your stash and you do smudge, I would just add an embellishment, a pearl or a gem or a sequin or something like that to cover it up. Go over with our colour lifter just to add a bit of tone on those leaves. That's it. Now this card, now we've done all of those 4, we can start building our cards. So we're going to take our card bases and we're going to use a bone folder just to make sure that they are all, your edges are nice and crisp. Let's move our stamps out the way before I get more ink on the cards that we don't need. And we don't need to do the 5th. So then what we do is we add our card to there. Can you see how that's really bled through? It's just because there's so much pigment in the stamps. You could, if you wanted to, if you have some extra cardstock, you could add an extra layer behind that of, say, Mossy Meadow or the lovely lipstick. I would go with a measurement of 3 3/8 by 4 7/8, so you've got just a little border of colour around. And then the thank you. You could do all of these happy birthday, you could do them all congratulations, or you may even have other sentiments or dies that you want to marry up with them. You could use the well said words, which would look really pretty. You could add die cutting, you could add embossing. There really is no end of designs that you can put together for these cards. Okay, so we have 1 card, 2 card, 3 card. Now with this one, I'm going to show you a different technique. So we've layered those all together down the edge. Now we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut around the image. Now the trick with fussy cutting, I don't know about anybody else, is to move your card rather than your scissors. It gives you a little bit more control, and I don't know about you, but I can see it better. If you're moving both of them, then it just gets too complicated and I end up in a real pickle. this just brings something else to our finished card. So that one now stands like so, which is a really pretty and delicate way of doing your cards. Now I am just going to grab a couple of, I've got some Pearl Basic jewels. Now you don't have these, or you may have them in your kit. I'm going to add a few of these to cover up my mess, or some of my mess anyway. Quite like adding things to my cards in threes. So I've added just those 3 little gems to finish. So there are our finished 4 cards. I hope you like them. For me, cards aren't finished unless you have decorated the envelopes. So what I would do is I would just stamp some of them on there. Maybe stamp a sentiment, maybe one at the bottom. I can show you if you wish. So let's take our main magnolia one and stamp that like so. Now this is a really, really lovely way of adding a little bit more detail to your projects before you send them. And I think it's really special to actually have a card received. If you send this to someone in the post, they know as soon as it lands on their doorstep that it's a handmade card. How special is that? And you can leave it black and white, you can colour it in. Just remember, if you do colour it in, the ink will go through. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Okay. And then lastly, I would add happy birthday just there. And then on this final one, where is my envelope? There he is. I'm going to add congratulations. Like so. So we have our beautiful congratulations card, like so. We have our lovely happy birthday card. We have another happy birthday card, and then we have a thank you card. So those are all the 4 cards in your kit. I hope you've enjoyed my video. I'd love to hear from you after you've had this, especially to see your cards made. If you have any questions, please just pop me an email or ping me a message, however you wish, and enjoy. Thanks everyone, take care, bye.